Welcome back to the second episode of Exploring Spinal Energetics with Brittany from Phoenix Energy Wellness.
Welcome to the Wellness Empowerment Project. I'm Trish.
And I'm Julie. We are two nurses exploring holistic healing and wellness practices to empower you to be the leader of your own health. Join us as we try out new things, or as we call it, weird shit, and have some fun along the way. Hey, we are back for the second episode of Exploring Spinal Energetics with Brittany. Last week, we got into what spinal energetics actually is. So if you did not get a chance to listen to part one, then I want you to pause this episode, go back and dive into part one. After you go through a session, how does a person tend to feel? Are there any kind of side effects? Do they feel anything during the session? Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Integration, so post-session work is so important. It's almost like you can go to the gym, but if you eat cake and pizza and all this other stuff outside of the gym, not that it didn't matter what you did in the gym, it was still good for you, but you're gypping yourself. Whenever somebody has a spinal energetic session, there's work that needs to happen outside of that room as well. And that integration, those practices can include things like meditation, journaling, yoga, mindfulness, going on a walk in nature, just reflecting on how your body feels. What are you feeling? Tapping intuitively, feeling what it's like to be inside of your body and connecting it with what else is going on in your life at that time. Nutritionally, you want to be good to your body, drinking lots of water because there is a bit of detox that goes on. Similar to Reiki, like we're moving out the stuff that no longer serves you. We're moving out the gunk. Drink lots and lots of water within reason. Some may feel entirely exhausted. Some may feel like they are bouncing off the walls. Some might feel a little bit of both. I know when I got my first one, I was exhausted the first day, and then days 2 and 3, my house was very spick and span. It can take up to 72 hours for the practice to settle and integrate into your body. Are there some extremes? Yes, rarely. Are there people that have found themselves having diarrhea and throw up? Yeah, from how powerful it can be. But very rarely have we seen that happen, but it's not unheard of. Try to think. Trish, I know you said you're just tired. Have you noticed anything yourself within the past 24 hours?
Yeah, the big thing I noticed is I was fine coming home. And I came home and I actually did have a nice, nourishing dinner on the earlier side, but lots of vegetables. I think it was about maybe 6 o'clock or so. I just laid on the couch and I was out like a light, probably solid 20 minutes, and it was a deep sleep. My husband heard me snoring. I'm noting this because I'm not a napper. I am not, even as a kid, I never took naps. I never really slept in the middle of the day. I never did a little power nap, just get my energy up. For me to be that deep of a sleep that early in the evening never really happened before. When I woke up, I was just still really drowsy, really tired. I allowed myself to go to bed early, do my meditation, do some journaling, which I almost didn't want to do because I was so tired and wanted to go to sleep. I just tore them up a bit and still did them. But I did wake up feeling pretty good this morning. Did my cold shower and
Nice.
which is a nice little, one of my favorite little nervous system regulation tools. I love to do it in the morning. I like to do it at the end of the day too. But that's where I am right now. I know we're probably just hitting the 24-hour mark as we speak about now. I'm curious if my house could use a good cleaning for the next 2 days. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was after one of my own sessions that I actually opened up my business. There was a switch that went on, and next thing I'm on the government website opening up an LLC for Phoenix Energy Wellness. That was within 24 hours after a session. I don't know, my practitioner really helped move things for me where I was like, it's like poop or get off the pot. I just had that, I'm getting off, here we go. Let's do this. It's amazing how each session is different and how you feel during it, how you feel after. It's like anything. You do it once, you do it twice. Each time might be a little bit different.
Only because you mentioned this, I think I'll mention it. I wasn't sure if I should before. But interestingly enough, I had 2 client calls this morning, and one client already asked about how to extend and to re-sign on before coming to a close next week. Then I had another dental client, actually, we've been in contact with each other, and she sent me a voice memo about an hour before this about wanting to sign on. I actually wondered in the back of my head, I wonder if there's any correlation with her. But since you mentioned it, I thought I would share that. The
Oh
timing is interesting.
my. It is. Thank you so much for sharing that because we worked really hard on that area of your body that was very open to what's to come. Like your legs,
Oh,
as we call it, like
really?
they were wide on the table. You were open to receiving. You were open to what is next in this path of mine.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you did the hard part. You did the hard part.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Do clients typically do one session or multiple? Do you feel like that people need to have multiple sessions? Or are they able to clear things out in one?
0% of people that I've seen have only needed one session. It really is meant to be a continual practice. Just using that gym analogy again of you can go to the gym once and feels good. You're not getting the six pack in one session. Spinal energetics does require a commitment. And I recommend to folks at least 3 biweekly sessions in the beginning, reevaluate after that. You might need a few more biweekly sessions, but really aiming towards a maintenance of once a month. I think it's really interesting too. All these chain massage places, taking after them in the sense of they recommend once a month going and getting a massage for maintenance. I think the same thing here when it comes to spinal energetics. I will say I'm getting a lot of people right now who will travel from New York over into New Jersey. Like people will travel 2-3 hours for a session because they're just so dang curious. That's the primary reason I see people at first. They're just like, this can't be true. I don't understand. I got to experience it for myself. It's a lot that come in for curiosity, but the encouragement is you got to continue to do the work. You got to put in the work.
I think that's really important to me because I saw a sound healer just for something to do with my husband. She mentioned ideally like a month or baby. And we all talk about things that we do for our physical health and our mental health. I think also it's important to look at our energetic health because that impacts all other aspects of our life. It sounds like this is a tool that we could start to integrate to help maintain our energetic health.
I definitely agree. Things like the wellness wheels where they highlight your physical, emotional, your environmental, etc. health. And there's also spiritual. Maybe this could go into that, but there needs to be an emphasis on the pillars of wellness and the wellness wheels for energetic spiritual health. I would love to see that moving forward because even when you look at our cells, only 0.0000001% of our cells are actual physical matter. We're treating the 0.0000000 blah 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 1% of our bodies. What about the other 99.99999? And yet it's not even recognized on wellness wheels for the most part. When you think about healthcare, it's a little intriguing. I'm really interested to see where this goes in the next few decades. I'd say now in the wellness field, we're just starting to get there a little bit more now. More and more devices coming out to be able to test things like the energetic field and whatnot. It does require a consistency component to it.
Yeah, I think that the realm of energy work is emerging more and more, but the challenge is that you can't feel it. You can't necessarily see it. It doesn't feel as tangible in traditional ways of speaking around your body. But people will talk about like when you walk into a room and you can sense a certain aura of the room, and that's energy. I
Yeah.
think that the challenge is tying in that way of speaking that people relate to and they experience every day into higher levels of how you can work on that and release it. And what does that mean as a part of your health and your wellness?
Yeah,
I think for many people, it's just really hard when you just can't see it.
it
And
is. I think what's interesting is science is there. It's just not as well known. And so first, for people to even find it, sometimes it requires a little bit of faith. But quantum physics has proven it. You look at something like the double slit experiment. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, and I'm going to butcher it, but two pieces of paper, one has a slit in it. You're thinking, where are the light particles going to hit that second piece of paper behind it? They run the experiment with no one observing it. Particles go everywhere on the second page. You add a human in the room observing. Now the particles go to where you assume that they would go, which is in that line through the slit. So just by us being there, we are impacting the energy around us just by what we are thinking and assuming it's there. And so more and more, and it's something that personally I want to get more into as well with the quantum physics research to be able to help show people this isn't woo. I know it gets a bad rep, but it is real. Like you said, we can't see it necessarily, at least not for some instances. But I think that's something that maybe even personally I want to put together, like maybe a freebie handout or packet or PDF or something. Those that who are scientifically minded, just like myself, I come from an evidence-based background. And that's something that I wanted to marry in this practice of mine as well. Like even understanding a lot of the conversation we've had today, it's been a little bit more subjective, but it's rooted on the objective as well. These things that we can't deny. I'll never forget the first Reiki session client I ever had. This is when I knew, holy crap, there is something to this. I just, ever since starting Reiki and Spinal, I've been getting intuitive downloads, these messages. I'm like, what is this? I don't understand. I know it's not mine to keep to myself. I'll tell my clients that I'm working on this gentleman and I hear release. Okay, so I need to deliver this message to the client. I don't know why. I don't know what it means. And of course, before the session, I invited the client to set an intention. I said, hey, someone's just take this with a grain of salt. I am human, right? There's always a chance I could be wrong and that this is just BS. But ever since then, I no longer believe that. I said, I just feel the need to tell you release is coming. He starts crying. He said, that was my intention. That has happened multiple times since then. I pick up what the intentions are from the person. And they're like, oh my gosh, that was my intention. I'm like, still continues to surprise me in a way because it's just such a loving confirmation. But I realize I'm going a little bit on a tangent, but obviously there's passion behind this.
No, what you're highlighting is that there is a level of self-trust that we have to tap into when we're doing some of these process and these modalities. That
Yeah.
I think is a big part of it because trust is not something that is always very tangibly focused. We're going to be working with our energy system. There's a level of trust that we have to have with ourselves to also be working with something that is more or less intangible.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's almost like a nutrition, for example, and portion sizes and making sure we're not overeating or undereating, right? There's a part of trust and listening to your body that comes from that. We've been practicing that for as long as we've been alive. But how much opportunity do we get to trust and tap into our intuition in this Western society?
That's a big question. Western society, we really are so metric based. We're quote unquote science based, even though science is not perfect. And there's a lot of bad science out there.
Oh.
If somebody says this is science, dang it, most of us are going to believe it. Oh, it's proven. When it may not actually really tell us anything. If you look at how those studies were put together or who funded them or the
And was
You
there
have
only
any
one
good
study or was there multiple studies? Science
Yeah.
doesn't equal truth.
It
Science is a
doesn't.
process. It is a full-blown process of you testing a hypothesis, testing a theory multiple times.
Absolutely. Any good statistician could tell any story.
Yeah.
I have to go down a path, but when my husband went and got his doctorate, one of the classes he took, they had to learn how to use statistics to prove something that was not the intention of the study. And that was a homework assignment. That was really enlightening. You can manipulate things any way you want. I think that also in Western society, we really just want to know what we're supposed to do. And we've lost our way from trusting ourselves and really connecting with ourselves. We just want the right answer. Just tell me what to do. Tell me what the right thing is to do. Even when you're going down that path, people are people, and you start to rebel against that in some kind of way. I'm still going to do what I want to do, but then it's like you're acting out in some kind of way.
I just want to link together, Julie, you just mentioned about the homework assignment of your husband. This links together with the quantum physics double split experiment as well. That was a homework experiment, right, in perception. How can we change the perception of the observer? And the double split experiment was all about something that was a particle becomes a wave when we are observing it. That was the difference, that things behave differently once it's observed. That's what I really see happening in that homework experiment. Or homework, I guess it wasn't an experiment, but in the homework assignment, it was okay. Once you observe something, you're now perceiving it differently or behaving differently because of that power of observation. That's really a big piece, in quantum physics. It's also a big piece in the energy work, but also a big piece in our day-to-day lives. Things start to change once they become observed.
We'll take it to
Yeah.
another step.
Yeah.
There's energy in all things, and that energy impacts and influences other people's or other things and their energy, right? So just by putting another energy field into that space, influenced it. If we circle back to people's energy systems, it's beautiful. It's beautiful how we interact with all things around ourselves and within each other. In your work in spinal energetics, shifting back to where we started, I think that it's a beautiful way to connect with people and to really find your way, what's inside of you to make yourself into a better human. When people want to explore this, how can they connect with you?
They can connect with me at my website where I have all my info and my booking link, which is phoenixenergywellness.com. And I'm also active on the Instagram account at Phoenix Energy Wellness.
Okay, great. We will make sure that all of those links go into our show notes. So if anybody would like to link up with you, that they can find you very easily. You also offer online sessions as well, right?
I do. I was just speaking to somebody in Indianapolis. We had a session online. So, yeah, all over the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thanks for joining. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, subscribe, and share with a friend. Want to learn more about a specific topic? Drop us a line on our website and we can explore it deeper with you.